Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this licensing subcommittee this morning to manage our first agenda item, the election of chair. Do we have any persons identifying him or himself as the election of chair for this subcommittee?
I will be nominating myself for chair. Thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. I will now ask the clerk if there are any apologies for this meeting.
Thank you, Chair. We haven't received any apologies for this meeting.
Thank you. I will now ask each subcommittee member in turn if they have any declarations of interest regarding this application. Councillor Dower?
No. No.
Councillor Chapman? No.
No.
Thank you. A protocol for public speaking at meetings of the licensing subcommittee was included with the agenda sheet for noting. Could those present indicate that they have read the public speaking notes and are happy to proceed on that basis? Thank you.
Thank you. Just a quick housekeeping notice. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Council for live broadcast and will be published on the Council's website for a minimum of 6 months. The meeting may also be recorded or streamed for the live or subsequent broadcast by members of the public, although ultimate discretion in this matter lies with the Chair in case of disruption. For those in the room, please note that if the fire alarm sounds, please exit the building by way of your nearest assigned fire exit route and make your way to the assembly point at the War Memorial in the gardens opposite the front of the building in Bourne Avenue. Finally, please ensure background noise is kept to a minimum and mobile phones and other devices are turned off or switched to silent for the duration of the meeting. For those in the room, this includes turning off microphones and turning down volume completely on laptops. Thank you.
Thank you, Clark. Now we will move on to item 5, the Dancing Jug, 1517 Paul Hill, Bournemouth. 2 temporary event notices have been submitted in respect of the premises known as the Dancing Jug. As objections have been received from Dorset Police, this matter is brought before the subcommittee for determination. I will now ask each participant to introduce themselves and state their role. Starting with myself, I am Councillor Alistair Keddy. I am the Vice Chair of Licensing and Chair of the subcommittee today.
Good morning, I'm Councillor Dower. I'm a member of the Licensing Subcommittee.
Councillor Chapman-Law, member of the Licensing Subcommittee.
Good morning, I'm Linda Cole. I'll be the legal advisor this morning to the Licensing Subcommittee.
Good morning, I'm Sinead O'Callaghan. I'm the clerk to the Licensing Subcommittee this morning.
Good morning, I'm Claire Johnston from Democratic Services. I'm just assisting with the AV equipment this morning.
Morning, Sarah Rogers, Principal Licensing Officer, BCP.
Louise Busfield, Licensing Officer, Dorset Police.
Gareth Gosling, Alcohol Licensing Sergeant, Dorset Police.
Miguel Sumanario, Director of Dancing Jug Licensing.
Julianne Towers, DPS of Dancing Jug.
Thank you for the introductions. Before I run through the procedure, can I check that everybody who's given notice of their intention to speak has been identified and anybody who wishes to withdraw a representation has also been identified? Also, we are joined by Councillor Flagg, who is observing as a reserve today. If everyone has given notice of their intention to speak, I will take that as correct. Excellent. So, I'll now explain the proposed procedure and the order of speaking for the hearing as follows. The licensing officer will present their report. Questions of the licensing officer by all parties, with members of the subcommittee to go first. The applicant will make their application. Questions of the applicant by all parties, members of the subcommittee to go first. Dorset Police will then put forward their objections. Questions of Dorset Police with members of the subcommittee to go first. All parties will be given an opportunity to sum up at the end, with the party who spoke last to go first. The hearing will then conclude and the subcommittee will deliberate in private with our legal advisor and clerk present. Notification of the subcommittee's decision will be given at the end of the hearing following deliberations. The notification of the decision will include information about right of appeal if appropriate. I will now ask all parties to confirm agreement on the proposed procedure or make representations. Mr. Sumaneriu, is that correct?
Please, if you can refer to me as Mario. It's
Mario.
really easier
That
for everyone.
I will do. Thank you, Mario. Mario, do you confirm agreement on the proposed procedure? Thank you. Is it okay to refer to you as Jules? I have in my notes.
Yeah, Jules is fine.
Excellent. Are you happy with the procedure?
Yeah.
Mrs. Rogers
Yes, that's fine, thank you.
and Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Okay. May I remind all parties speaking not to repeat the information which they have already given in writing, but to expand on their written representations. All questions are to be asked through the chair, and there will be no cross-examination of parties. If everybody is happy to proceed, I will ask the licensing officer to present their report.
Thank you. This application for a temporary event notice is brought before you following receipt of an objection notice from Dorset Police under the Prevention of Crime and Disorder and Public Safety licensing objectives. Application has been made to extend the permitted hours over the Christmas period. On the 1st of October this year, a minor variation was granted following concerns by Dorset Police and the risk of a review of the premises licensed by them. The minor variation was made to reduce the terminal hour to midnight and add further conditions. The hours previously permitted were Sunday to Thursday 1:30 and Fridays and Saturdays was 2:30. On the 16th of October 24, the licence was transferred into the current licence holder and the current DPS who are here today. Members must consider the objection notice and any supporting evidence and either grant the application or issue a counter notice if considered necessary for the promotion of the prevention of crime and disorder and public safety licensing objectives to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of the licensing officer? I do have one question regarding the minor variation. You mentioned there were some additional conditions that were imposed at the same time. Would you be able to let us know what those were? Thank you.
I'll come back to you because I just got to look them up.
No problem.
If it helps, Sarah, I do have a summary of the changes, if that's useful.
Are you happy for Dorset Police to run through those?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just very quickly then, in summary, there was no DJ entertainment, additional SIA requirements, body-worn video for SIA staff, a minimum number of staff to be present, depends on the day of the week, personal licence holder requirement, right to work checks, CCTV checks to be made, toilet checks, and finally that reduction in hours that Sarah's already alluded to.
I understand that the reduction of hours was voluntary, but the conditions listed were they issued by a subcommittee or were they also voluntary?
No, they form part of the minor variation, so they were conditions which the police suggested to include on the variation to satisfy them.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions for the licensing officer? Okay, thank you. I would like to call on the applicant now to make their representation.
Hi everyone, my name is Guros Mario. Can you refer to me as Mario if it's possible? It's easier for everyone. I'm the new license holder since the 16th of October. I'm new in this kind of position, and maybe I'm not going to have all the good words and all the right words for this meeting, so I'm apologizing for this. We apply for these hours because since I took over, we changed our direction on food side. I'm a chef based. I'm doing a full-time chef job at the moment, and we try to promote the food more on our venue than the liquor. If I can do this, I can go back a little bit in time. I did this before at a venue called Lebato 10 years ago. The same scenario. From 70% liquor, 30% food, we turn it the other way around, 70% food, 30% liquor. And based on this, I'm trying to do the same thing here. And we have good results in the last 3 months since we implement all this. We didn't have any problems. We didn't have any intoxicated people making noises or stuff like that, because people are enjoying more the food at this time and if I can quote one of the customers, they have like a culinary journey. Oh, I didn't expect that. Or that's something wow. And people attend more to come like regular basis, not like brunch menu. And in this period of time, we have a lot of corporate bookings for the normal menu, and the kitchen is open till 10 o'clock. So we have like a late rate for food and drink, obviously. And I'm afraid we're going to rush the customers, and this, very busy period of time, we're going to rush them through the door of like the late tables we're going to have. That's the only reason we apply for this. And at the same time, we want to prove ourselves, me and Jules. I think we are on the right track, and we want to change not the name, but the reputation of this place. Thank you.
So just to elaborate on that a little bit more, I was actually at the Dancing Jug personally 3 years ago before I left Bournemouth. I recently re-submerged and came back to Bournemouth about 3 months ago. I did reinstate my old job. I wasn't a DPS before, but I worked alongside Louise quite profusely as a licensing officer. Even though I wasn't a DPS, she knew how I worked. Now, back then we didn't have these kinds of issues in which have been implemented along the duration that I've not been here. And since I've come back, we have made sure that even though, as Mario said, we have kind of adapted and adopted this provisional license and these changes in the licensing, we are trying to set a new direction. We haven't had these issues. We've made sure everything, all of these things in which were mentioned at the beginning of the hearing have all been implemented. We have a new security company. They wear body cam. They've got the fluorescent armbands. Every time, if I get a new doorman, and it's the same for both venues, even though this meeting is predominantly obviously for Bournemouth, every time we get a new SIA doorman, I make sure that those checks are done at the beginning. So as soon as they come in, the first thing I do is do the SIA checks, ensure that everything is done and in the correct manner as well. The book is always efficiently filled in. I make sure, for example, all of the staff across both sites, again, I'm going to stop referring to both sites because this is for the triangle, but all staff are CCTV trained. I've been working endlessly to try and bring the staffing back up to the level in which they should be. So it could be the small things, for example, the uniforms, the courtesy, the customer service, and I believe that these smaller implementations have had a wider spread across the way that they've worked. Now, if you look at the track record since myself and Mario have taken over, we haven't had these kinds of we haven't had the problems in which have been seen before these implementations were implemented into place. So we have been working profusely to make sure that everything you guys have asked from us, we've adhered to, we've made those changes, and we're trying to excessively add on to ensure that it is worked in the correct manner and that it is managed in the correct way. So it's more so we understand, you know, the things have happened and that these licensing changes have only just been implemented before we have taken over. But ever since we have taken over, we haven't had these problems and everything has been efficiently maintained 24/7. And just to elaborate on that, I am at the venue every day. So and even if I'm not at the venue, I have the CCTV on my phone, so I am consistently monitoring everything as Mario's DPS to ensure that everything is sufficiently maintained to the highest of standards, and to ensure to you guys as well that we understand there's a safeguarding for the public, but we also safeguard our staff. So we safeguard everyone and we do adhere to everything as much as we possibly can. So that's another part of, you know, what we've been doing.
Thank you for your representations. It's very much appreciated. We'll open up questions for the applicant, if that's okay. Councillor Dowell.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for representations, very well put. I just wanted to get some clarification around extending the opening times in the evening. So you say the kitchen will be closed at 10 o'clock, but you want to extend opening time or closing time till 2 o'clock. What do you think the impact of that would be? Because if they're going to be eating food, they're not going to be eating food from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning.
If the food comes out from the kitchen, let's say 9:45, 10 o'clock, the latest. That's the latest. It's gonna be around 12. They're gonna be like in a party. It's a Christmas party. They come for, you know, to enjoy time, and it's not all. It's food related. But at the same time, obviously, they're going to have drinks and stuff like that. So it takes time. Literally, it takes time. I don't think 2 hours is going to be enough for the late tables to enjoy the full service we can provide. So that's my only worry. It's nothing else.
So just to sort of clarify a little bit, I mean, obviously you must know how long your covers take to. My wife works in the industry. We used to work in the industry, so you must know generally how long your cover lasts. You know, normally outside of Christmas time. Yeah. Could you let me know how long that is?
It's not mad, like your wife is gonna tell. It's not mad. Kitchen is not mad. If someone is booked like 9:45, for instance. They're not always there at 9:45, let's say, yeah? They're going to be then 10. Then 2 people, they're not turning up. So it's going to be 10:20, 10:30. And then they're going to change their mind about some dishes and so on. So that's my only worry. Because if it will be something like this meeting is going to be at 10 o'clock, it's going to finish at 10:15, because everyone knows that, it will be easier for everyone. But because I'm seeing this in a busy period of time, like Friday, Saturday, You have a table of, I don't know, for 15 people at 6 o'clock, but you're going to turn up serving that table around 7 or maybe later. Because it's not just that table who comes in that time. Or, like I said, there's various motives where people are, some of the people from the group are late, or some of the people, they change their mind about some dishes. Endless problems. So I don't want them to feel. I don't want me to feel stress having them. Oh, the table came at 10. We served them at 10:30, and by 12 o'clock I have to tell them, guys, you have to go home. I'm sorry. That's the only reason. Sorry, I don't know how to put it for you to understand. Maybe if you go for a Christmas party with your colleagues, you're gonna find out that experience is gonna be like that. You're gonna meet up there at a certain hour, and then some of the colleagues are gonna be late, and someone is gonna change their mind about some dishes, and you're gonna start eating not at 6, but 6:45 or 6:30. That's the only reason.
Okay, so you previously said that the kitchen closes at 10. Is that a hard cut-off then? Do you actually say last order for food is at a certain time?
If it's gonna be like it's quiet between 9 and 10 o'clock, it's gonna be definitely 10 o'clock is gonna be closed. But if it's busy and we have more and more customers, we're gonna be there to serve them. And because all these parties are coming, and the big numbers of people, you never know. You're gonna close at 10 o'clock or 10:30 you're still gonna cook. That's why. Because I'm putting exactly the same hours on a 9 o'clock, for instance, when we used to close at 9 o'clock. And sometimes we're cooking like 20 to 10. We are still cooking because all those parties or all these people late or too early or stuff like that. So that's my only concern.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, me again. So you're talking about the parties for Christmas. So do you have, how many tables do you have altogether for food?
Joe's going to answer you this more.
So inside the venue, we've got 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Just quickly trying to work it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's about 20 inside, and then outside we have separate tables as well. So we have 1, 2, 3. We have about 7, 8 upstairs, and then downstairs we've got 3 private coves, and we've got a private booth at the bottom of the stairs and 1 under the stairs. Everything again is safeguarded, covered, heated if it's outside, so everyone's more than happy. Just elaborating on obviously what Mario is saying in regards to our guest is, yes, we're coming in and we have adopted again that provision that this, these, I'm gonna call them pushbacks a little bit because we've adapted it, but we're also trying to bring it back to how successful it used to be, in which Louise used to see how hard I worked profusely to make sure that everything was correct. In regards to now and with the time and with the cut-off, like Mario is saying in regards to the fooding, it's you want your guests to enjoy their experience. For example, if you do have people staying in for longer or people do come a little bit later, it would be bad customer service for me to turn around and say, sorry, can't serve you, because we're closing at 12 o'clock. They should be, I think everyone has the right to enjoy themselves. If you go to any premises, you should be able to do that. So it's not a case of, we don't have enough seating or we don't have enough staffing or anything like that. The way in which I operate the front of house for Mario, so Mario's the kitchen, I'm the front of house, the way that it's operated is everything is subsectored. So every member of staff has got a subsector. There's enough members of staff on the bar, there's glass collectors, obviously we have the doorman implemented. I oversee everything, so I sit all the guests so that we're not overstacked. And if, for example, it is a case of, we do have people coming in who are not booked, if we can't facilitate those guests, we will obviously mention to them, but everything is purely organised. And in regards to the food side of things as well, if we do get those groups that come in and book later, I spend a lot of time in the week doing pre-orders. So I get pre-orders from because a large percentage of our reservations, are bottomless brunches. So everything is as organised as can be.
Okay, thank you. I've just got a follow-up question on that. Can you tell me, have you got lots of pre-bookings already? How fully booked are you for that period?
We are booked. We're not overbooked because again we monitor it. So when I'm doing the pre-order, so I do the pre-orders for Mario, and I look at all the bookings. So on a day-to-day basis. So for example, I'll leave here and I'll go back to the venue with Mario, and I will be doing the pre-orders again and chasing up if there is any new reservations. If, for example, I see that there is a certain amount in an hour, that's when Mario will tell me, no, let's close it off.
Okay, thank you. I've got another follow-up question. I'm sorry about this, Claire. So you've got people who are pre-booked and they're going to come in for their Christmas party, etc. They have a lovely time, have a few drinks. What about people who just come in randomly? Will you be having randoms just turn up for drinks rather than just food?
Yeah, we have the bottomless brunch, which is run till 8 o'clock every day. After 8 o'clock, between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, we have these Christmas parties from the normal menu. This is my focus is on this one because I'm using bottomless brunch just to promote the new menu, the food. We instate a new rule where when the bottomless brunch is served, or with your first drink you get your food, where it wasn't like this before. So people are enjoying the food more, and they kind of stop and they say, oh, it's not just a bottomless brunch, it's not just about the drinks, it's about the food. And then trading with this brunch menu, we get this new customers which they booked for Christmas parties between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the evening. So that's the new customers we have. That's the result of our work for the past few months. So we tend to take care of them the best way possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. I also have a question. You mentioned the bottomless brunch promotion that you run till 8 p.m. Are there other drinks promotions that are included in the Christmas party food package? And could you let us know what they may be?
Yeah, so we do a happy hour till 10 o'clock, so it's not a late night discount. We do 2-for-1 on cocktails, but they've never been, it's not a case of, they're normally sold a lot of the time, but they are 24/7. So we have 2-for-1 on cocktails. We also have 4 for £12 on shots. Again, we don't sell a lot of those, to be honest. We have the happy hour till 10, and that is all of the drinks. We don't do any other drinks offers at all.
So there are no drinks included with the Christmas lunch food package?
No.
No, so with we've got the bottomless brunch in which you get one meal and then you get the drinks for 2.5 hours, but everything is maintained and structured. So for example, what happens is, as I mentioned to you before, when the guests come in, because it's so structured, I sit them to their table. I have one member of staff who does the pre-orders on the till and takes the payments. So she just does that, she doesn't do anything else. I have another member of staff who literally puts Prosecco on, and you can only have one drink on the table plus Prosecco at any time. That's it. So it is all monitored and structured.
No, so between 8 and 10 is just the normal menu. So people which they order from the normal menu, they don't have free drinks or anything else like that.
Okay, so the bottomless brunch ceases. The drinks associated with that promotion cease at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Okay.
Yeah, the last book table is 8 p.m. always.
Last book table, or
Yeah.
do the drinks associated
The
with that
last
package?
book table.
So people can arrive at 8 p.m. and still have the bottomless promotion until 10.
Yeah, so for example, the last booking is at 8 o'clock, which is a 2.5 hour slot, but no one will be drinking bottomless drinks after 10:30 p.m. That's the cut-off.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions for the applicant? Councillor Dower.
Just one final question. So you've actually said about how since you've taken over the licence of the premises, there's been a reduction in the trouble and the crime and disorder, etc. But how do you know that that's not because of the actual, what would you call it, the minor variation rather than what you're actually doing?
Because I see that in customers. I don't see any more intoxicated customers in our, like so much like there was before, and people are enjoying more. The people are connecting with the kitchen. I don't know if anyone been to the venue. It's a hallway between the terrace and the restaurant where people are coming and going, and that's the kitchen where people are just stopping and they say thank you, that was amazing, that thank you. So, and for the customers coming back often for the food, not just for the bottomless brunch, because the bottomless brunch I use it as a to promote, because that's include one meal in this deal. So I promote it this way, and then we have the people coming back next week or after 2 weeks during the day, which this is my aim, a trade during the day and then during the night. So that I think that's why.
But also, just to elaborate on top of that, with the changes that we've made alongside these minor variations, it's a bottomless brunch. People are still going to be consuming alcohol. Okay, so even if those minor variations weren't implemented, the minor variations, the main attachment is the time of closure. It's not how much people consume, and that's obviously monitored in the way that we monitor it, and we're very much observant of that 24/7. But it's more so just to say that, it's a case of we are on top of everything. I don't think it's anything to do with these minor variations. I think it's the way that it's upheld, it's the way it's structured, it's the way it's run, and it's the way all of these changes have been implemented and added on to, if that makes sense.
So with regard to the food offerings available, do you have offerings outside of the bottomless brunch? Do you have an open menu that people can partake in without the drinks
we have
package?
our main menu, yeah.
Just for my clarity, the bottomless brunch promo, could you give me a little more information on the bottomless brunch? Is it a selection of particular drinks? Is there a limit of drinks per person? Are people encouraged to get as much value for money in that period as possible?
No.
Are there checks and balances on the amount of consumption? Thank you.
So in regards to level of consumption, again, it's the way everything is structured. So I take the guests to their table. It's a 2.5 hour slot. So for example, if you're booked in for 1 o'clock, whether you're there at 1 o'clock or 1:15, that's when your brunch starts, because that's when it was booked for. Now, once you sit at your table, you have a bottle of Prosecco in front of you. Obviously, it's monitored how many people are there. If it's 2 people, it's a glass. If it's 4 people, then again, it's a bottle, because you get generically 3.5 glasses in a bottle. So the level of consumption is monitored in that retrospect. And then what happens is, understandably, again, a large percentage of our custom is bottomless brunch, which means there will be a queue for drinks on the bar. So again, that does pull back the level of consumption in time waiting. But also, they're only allowed 1 drink on the table at any given time. If, for example, the glass gets to the bottom quarter of the glass, that's when we tell the staff they're okay to go and take the next order. Again, they've got that waiting period between when the order is taken to when the order is made to when the order is delivered. So everything is fully monitored. Also, in regards to that, it's a case of where I said I sit the guests and Mario is in the kitchen, I'm circulating the venue 24/7. Literally, in all of, any busy periods that we have, I am always there. For example, you know, we have a party on Thursday night. I think there's 14 of them. I will make sure I'm there, and I'll be assisting the guys to ensure that, you know, all of these are adhered to, because we are trying to rebuild the business to the reputation it had before, but everything is managed 100%.
Okay, thank you. Is there any kind of limit on drinks per person within that 2.5 hour period?
Again, it's one per person at any given time. I do reiterate to all staff members that if, for example, they're always observant of their guests. I do always ensure that it is a case of if they feel someone is coming under the influence a little bit too much, please feel free to give them a glass of water, tell them to wait half an hour. If, for example, they seem a bit better, then maybe we can re-observe them and they can have another drink. But at any given moment, you know, they have the right, and this is something in which is reiterated to the guests at the beginning of the brunch, that the members of staff at any given moment, if they feel that the guest is getting a little too intoxicated or is trying to order too quickly, we say there is a time limit between.
You mentioned that while the bottomless brunch promo is going on, you have customers queuing at the bar. Is the bottomless brunch package strictly table service, or can people go to the bar independently?
No, absolutely not. It's table service only. The reason why we do that is so we can monitor everything. Again, where I'm circulating the venue, I keep an eye on the bar, I keep an eye on the tables, and, you know, if I see someone's drink getting low, then I'll say, are you looking after your guests, so on and so forth. But part of what I do as well is I observe how many tickets are on the bar, and, for example, where we indicate one person to each section, nobody else is allowed to take an order from that section to prevent double orders.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any further questions from the subcommittee members?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Questions from the police licensing officers? Thank you.
Just a couple, Chair. Firstly, can we just get some clarity that the period for the temporary event notice beyond the permitted hours currently, the purpose of that is just for alcohol, is it? Or is it for entertainment as well?
Sorry, it's not for entertainment. The reason why we want to do it again is just so our customers can enjoy over the festive period. That's why we've only selected specific dates. It's not, you know, for any other reason. It's just so we can provide good customer service and bring back the reputation the Dancing Jug used to have when it was good and we didn't prohibit all of these issues in which have occurred over the last 3 years.
Okay, so Chair, you're right if I ask a second question?
Please be my guest.
So just to confirm, you said that it's not for entertainment, but it is just for alcohol, because there'll be no food being served during that time.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Whilst not immediately relevant to this application, your Dancing Jug premises in Charminster, does that also host a similar offering with regards to bottomless brunch?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Okay, and the reason I asked that is that are you also the DPS for Charminster?
I am indeed.
Okay.
Just a note that we should be focusing on the premises on the application in this instance.
Absolutely, and I'll come to that immediately now. Now that we've clarified that Jules is the DPS for 2 premises that both offer the bottomless brunch, I think it's an opportunity to clarify, because Jules has specified that she is always available, 24/7's been used a couple of times, to monitor everything that happens at Pool Hill, but she also has responsibility for the same offering at Charminster, and that's why I bring it in, because it's useful to understand how that's achieved in 2 places at once.
Yeah.
Over to you.
So in regards to that, I have CCTV on my phone for both venues. Charminster does not offer anywhere near as many covers as Bournemouth does, which is why this is why we're specifically going for Bournemouth. Now, in regards to Charminster, I have done exactly the same training with the staff in Charminster as I have in Bournemouth. So I know that everything is monitored correctly. I have a manager over there, that I'm constantly in communication with. Everything is constantly being monitored. It's not a case of, obviously, I can sit here and I can say to all of you, yes, I'm on my phone 24/7. I have my phone on me at all times. Obviously, there are periods in which I am busy helping with, the customers and helping with the staff in Bournemouth, but it's not a case of I'm there and I'm serving and I'm, just talking to everyone 24/7. Yes, I try and engage in customer interaction because it's important. It's customer base. But I'm also always very observant of what is going on in Charminster. Now, I must also stress that I do the pre-orders for Charminster. So I'm fully aware of how many covers, how many staff. I do the rotas for both venues, so I know exactly how many staff I have on, I know how many security I have on, I know how many pre-orders I have, I know how many covers I have due in. Yes, obviously we have walk-ins across both venues, but again, I have always got my eye on both venues. I'm very efficient at what I do. I spend a lot of time on what I do, and I'm there during the main operation of hours. Yes, I do most of my admin from Bournemouth because that's where Mario is based and it's easier for us to communicate. It's also the busiest site of the two, but that doesn't mean that I don't observe Charminster. Please understand that I always have my eye on both venues for him. So, it's very well structured now and everything is how it should be.
Do you have any further questions of the applicant?
No further questions, Chair. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions of the applicant from members present? Then we will move on to the presentation from Dorset Police of their objection. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. I'll try and keep it brief. So much of the history has been sort of alluded to already, but there is a history between this premises and the authorities, in particular the police. There has been a history of violence, antisocial behaviour and concerns around safeguarding at the premises as well. And that has actually taken place over a period of time and under different management. So there has been different management at different times when this has been occurring. There were a number of incidents of particular concern around August time, should I say, and that led to discussions taking place between the owner of the premises and Dorset Police, and those discussions took place between 20th of August and mid-September, and that was regarding urgent changes that were needed to restore our confidence in the premises and to avoid a review. The changes that were agreed have already been highlighted earlier, and if you require me to go through them again I can, but if you've got a note then I'll move on swiftly. And I think the most important thing to note is that those changes have been successful. We've seen a reduction in the number of reports to service to the police, and those are from that reduction has been noticeable from the 1st of October when that minor variation came into force. We feel that there has been insufficient time since then for the premises to demonstrate, having experienced a significant period of issues that led to those discussions. We feel that there has been an insignificant period that has passed since then, and whilst we acknowledge that the DPS and licence holder have recently changed, that we need to see a robust track record of management now, particularly during this particularly busy period. And I'll leave it at that for now, and if there's any questions I'm happy to answer them, and then I'll just highlight that a little bit more in the summing up.
Thank you. Members, do you have questions? Councillor Dale.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, so we understand that the concerns were raised back in August, and the minor variation came into effect in October. Since then, we've got the new people taking over. With regards to how the offering has changed, does that actually give you any confidence in what might happen if the licenses, if we allow this?
Thank you for the question. I think what we've heard today is that there's been a real shift towards food being a primary offering, and I think where we've seen premises do that in the past, we've seen a distinct change in clientele. Even where you have bottomless brunches that are really well managed, where the food becomes the priority, as we've heard a lot about today, that's really, really important, and we see the outcome of that as a lot less calls to service to the police and other blue light services. I think our main concern is that between the terminal hour as it has been recently agreed and this 2 o'clock proposed finish, we are at a time when there is a lot more demand in the town centre anyway. People go out, there is overconsumption and there is increased vulnerability at Christmas, we know that. And the concerns that we have is that we will start seeing a return to how the Dancing Jug was prior. Now, it would be really useful, I think, if we had a track record of say, for example, 6 to 12 months, to see a really noticeable, consistent change since that October the 1st change was implemented. I think we'd feel in a much more confident position to know one way or another whether we could support it. But given the fact that we haven't got that track record and we had such a long period of issues that led up to those changes and those discussions, I've got a real concern that we will immediately see that slip return.
Okay, thank you.
So just I'm a little bit fuzzy on the timeline. So the minor variation that you guys negotiated, was that with the current licensing? Was that was that with the current people, or was that with the previous management? Management, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
So it's there has been a change in the licence holder and the DPS. The current owner of the business, as we understand it, he was the premises licence holder. He has stepped back from that role but continues to own the business. So our conversations were with him.
Excuse me. I just wanted to clarify, what is the recommendation of Dorset Police Licensing explicitly? Is it that this notice doesn't get granted, or are there circumstances where certain conditions could be applied?
There is the opportunity for you to add the conditions that are already on the licence. Our concern is that if you were to allow the alcohol to continue, which is the main reason for this temporary event notice, it's the alcohol related issues that caused us the most significant concern. Where we see the food offering, that's really good progress. What we're seeing in this application is an application for increased alcohol provision.
So, to be clear, is it the opinion of Dorset Police Licensing that there are no circumstances that you feel this temporary event notice should be granted?
Yes, given the fact that many of the issues that happened prior to the minor variation coming into force were happening late at night.
Thank you. Members, do we have further questions?
So, if they were to, I mean, obviously we covered the fact that the priority on the food has been a positive impact. If they were to make their food later, provision later, would that be acceptable to you guys, or is it just purely the length of time afterwards?
I think we're all well aware that even if there was a food menu offered till 2 o'clock in the morning, people aren't going out at 1 o'clock in the morning to eat. So it's one of those situations, we've had it in the past, where a menu is offered. That's not why people are there. So it wouldn't, in effect, you could offer it, but it wouldn't, in effect, make a difference.
Do we have further questions?
Not from myself.
Okay. Do you have questions of the licensing officers?
Just to add on more than anything, to obviously what you guys have said, in regards to the conversations being with the previous licensing holder and the owner, Jalal, he has fully stepped back. He does come and check. Sometimes everything is okay, but he has stepped back and he's allowed us to come in and make these changes, in which have worked efficiently, and we can see, both ourselves and yourselves, we can see these changes are being made and are being made correctly. Now, I just want to stress as well that, again, I was at the venue for 3 years beforehand, before I left, and there was not any problems then.
Sorry to interrupt you. Could you phrase this as a question rather than a statement?
Sorry, what was the question?
Is there any questions?
This section is for questions of the Dorset Police officers.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's just more so a question. Obviously, we said to you that that Jalal was gonna step back. So why is he being brought up now more than anything?
He was brought up because the question was asked around who we'd agreed it with, but you have also just said that he stepped back, but he does pop in to check that everything's okay.
Do we have any further questions of the Dorset Police licensing officers? Before we go to sum up, I just have an additional question for the applicant. The offering under this temporary event notice is focused around the food being provided. The last food offering is at 10 p.m. Would you be allowing admission of people who don't have food packages after 10 p.m? Would you be allowing open access until, is there a cut-off for independent entry that's not associated with a booked food package?
Well, if the extension was granted, we wouldn't allow people in half an hour before we were due to close anyway. So if it was granted for 2 o'clock, no one would be allowed in past 1:30 anyway, which in generic, obviously people aren't allowed in past 12 now, so there's about an hour and a half difference. When you think about it, that's not actually a long time in the stream of alcohol consumption if it's being monitored correctly. So that would be the cut-off to that.
So to be clear, anyone would be able to enter the premises until 1:30 a.m?
Yes, that's what we're looking for.
Thank you. If there are no further questions of the police licensing officers, we will move to parties being given an opportunity to sum up. The way this works is the party that presented last will go first. So we'll hear from the police licensing officers, then the applicant, then the licensing officer. I'll go to police licensing to make that sum up.
Thank you, Chair. I won't repeat what I've already said, other than to highlight that the festive months are a period of particular high demand for the police and other blue light services. Unfortunately, despite the efforts of ourselves and our partners, the nighttime economy is not without its issues. In particular, reports of spiking, etc., seem to become more prevalent during these peak periods and over the festive period as well. The staffing, the police staffing and other blue light services has already been agreed, and that's all in place as part of what we refer to as Operation Jupiter, which is to ensure that there is adequate policing in the town centre to manage this increased demand, and that is already in place, so additional provision is likely to have an impact on that. Additionally, there is, whilst it is relatively unrelated, we do have a clear hold build process in place in and around the area where this premises is, and that's working in partnership with the local authorities community safety team to reduce crime and disorder, and there is a concern that it might impact on that as well. We don't want this premises to return to how it has done recently, and we are talking recently. These changes were volunteered by the then premises licence holder and current business owner to address the concerns that we had and to avoid a review. It's very clear that this additional provision that's being requested today as part of this temporary event notice is for additional alcohol. It's clear that people can come and enjoy alcoholic drinks without a meal, and that's something that we are really concerned will lead to the business as a whole returning back to days of old, when we've seen some really good progress take place since the 1st of October. We're really pleased that the food offering is going really well, and following a sustained period of progress and positive performance, it would be great to revisit opportunities to increase the existing from what the existing provision is, but we feel that this is too soon and at too busy a time, if you like, to risk crime and disorder occurring again at the Dancing Jug.
Thank you. We will move to the applicant to sum up, if you have a closing statement. Thank you.
I want to thank you everyone for being here today. Regarding food offering, and we didn't start this food offering since 1st of October. I started this food offering since June when I changed the menu, the whole menu. So it's something I work for the past 6-7 months. It's not something I work for the last 2 months. So it's whatever happened during this period of time till I took over the licensing, I wasn't aware it's so bad, and I was trying to switch all this in more like a food-based menu and food-based venue, and I think this period of time it's a good time to prove ourselves we can do this job. And when we apply for these hours, we apply for 4 days, 11 December, 15 December, and 4 days, 18 December, 22nd of December. We don't ask for something permanent. We just ask for something we can prove all this hard work we did. We can do it in a busy period, and prove ourselves and prove to our customers and prove to Dorset Police we can do this job. everything from me.
Thank you, Mario. Jules, do you have anything to add?
No, just the same as Mario. We just, again, we're trying to prove the changes that we've done and just make it how an easy relationship, you know, no problems between anything. Like, again, me and Louise know each other from way back when, but we weren't working close alongside each other, but you can admit I work very hard to ensure that everything is efficiently done, and I promise to maintain that for obviously Mario, yourselves and the safeguarding of our customers.
Thank you for your representation. Licensing, do you have a closing statement?
No, thank you.
If there are no further closing statements, the hearing will conclude. The subcommittee will deliberate in private with our legal advisor and the clerk present. Notification of the subcommittee's decision will be given at the end of the hearing following deliberations. The notification of decision will include information about the right of appeal if appropriate. I will now ask all parties to confirm. No, that's the earlier piece, pardon me. All parties may now wait outside if you wish, and the decision will be conveyed to you when the meeting resumes after deliberations. Welcome back. Thank you for bearing with us as we make our deliberations. The subcommittee has been balancing the requirements of the premises against the objections of Dorset Police and the risk of crime and disorder associated with extending the hours. We commend the work of the new licence holder and DPS to change the culture of the premises and to take it in a new direction. However, the subcommittee does not feel that enough time has been given for this and the recent conditions given only around about 6 weeks ago to fully bed in. And the subcommittee's unanimous decision is not to allow the 10, and we will be issuing a counter notice. I would conclude that I really do think that the venue is heading in the right direction. The direction of travel is good. And I would take the words of the police licensing officers when they said that when sufficient time goes by and a significant enough track record has been built, that this can be looked at again in the future. Thank you. Appeal.
There is a right of appeal to the decision that's been made this morning, well, particularly in the second 10. I think you are now out of time to appeal the first 10 because it has to be made 5 days before the event happens. But that appeal should be made to Dorset Magistrates Court. We will put all that information in the counter notice that we'll forward to you later today.
I believe that brings the hearing to a conclusion. Thank you for attending today and making representations. I will now adjourn the hearing.